You queer cats are tone setters. The same reason my main legion of chrome wetters. With long cheddar, mixed with lines written. No time slipping when we rhyme spitting. Divine mission since the house days. G.A. Grandma left DJ Tanner outraged. The South stays about that Beretta clapping. Lines balanced with
Head on over to Spotify and all other streaming platforms to check out the NoMercyTV Podcast.
Yo, what's good, y'all? No Mercy. Trap New York shit. NoMercyTV.com. I know what time it is, man. We are back with another one. And man, oh man, am I mad that I have to do this one, because this was gonna be, I felt like one of my favorite rappers, but just got caught up in so much that it's just like, man, go from partying with Hov and everything he was doing to now, damn Alphabet Boys, man, you feel me? But let's talk about it, man. Casanova, Brooklyn, I guess he kind of, I don't think we classify Casanova as a drill rapper. Do we? Maybe we do, because he does make, in the essence of what they call drill music, which is, you know, music to, you know, go and do your thing too, you know, in terms of, you know, being in the streets and stuff like that. He does make that type of, that music that carries that type of energy. But let's start, you know, with getting familiar with Casanova and everything. I think when Don't Run came out, it was 2016. And I remember seeing it. It was one of those joints where it just went viral for no reason. You know, I forgot what the meme was in the caption that they put on it when the video dropped. And it just went crazy, you know? And from what people were saying, they were saying like, he used to really be out in, you know, the clubs and stuff like that with the rappers. And then there was a couple that done, you know, he done caught licks off of after the club and, you know, things of that nature. And I'm like, okay. So he from Brooklyn. He clearly got, you know, a certain type of energy around him. And he making music, and he's actually making music that I rock with. And I don't rock with a lot of new guys. You feel me? But I like how, you know, he was bringing back that whole gutter gangster type of tone. He wasn't just focused on rapping. Like sonically, he was great. Like the production was dope. And when I say production, I don't just mean beats, but I also mean the way that his music is just put together in terms of, like, you know, how the verses are structured and, you know, things of that nature with the ad-libs and all the, you know, effects and everything. Like, I'm like, yo, he gonna be one of them ones if he keep up like this. And he just kept dropping bangers, right? He did Don't Run, he did the Don't Run remix, he did the Go Best Friend joint, the 2 a.m. He did the joint with Chris Brown. He did Set Trippin'. The song that started all the BS, you know. Now, I know early on, I guess just, you know, being from Brooklyn and stuff like that, he had linked up with Memphis Bleak, and they had become, you know, like real cool and everything. So I'm assuming Memphis Bleak helped plug him in to, you know, get his Rock Nation deal and stuff like that. He did have his own imprint with the whole 2 Times, which I guess that became his label. And he did have a couple artists like Ja Dweller, Brash, couple other people, you feel me? So he's at a point where, you know, he's coming from what he was doing in the street in terms of getting locked up, all these felonies. He actually posted his record on Instagram. I think it was like last week. You know, and just all the felonies and the violent felonies and the misdemeanors and, you know, all the other stuff that he was getting into. To go from that to now, making music, having your own imprint, being able to put other people on, signed to basically one of the best management teams in hip hop, being around Hov, like, for somebody from New York, especially Brooklyn, it don't get no bigger than that. Like, you get to be around Hov, you get to be signed to the guy, and you get to move around pretty much all for the strength of this man's name. And he started doing music videos in Africa with tigers and elephants and all that. Like, being from the city, a lot of people don't make it that far. Like, there's a lot of people that don't even get to really travel like that outside the country. So, to be from what he's from and to be able to make it that far that's a pretty big accomplishment in life. There's a lot of people who aren't going to make it that far. Being 100% real, like, there's a lot of people that's not going to make it where Casanova made it. And even in terms of the industry, where his career got, he didn't get to like a crazy point. But what I did like was that every time he dropped like a record or a single, it was fire and it moved. You feel me? He may not have dropped no classic albums or nothing like that, even though what was the one that he had the jail shit on the cover? I think it was called Commissary or something like that. I like that album. You feel me? Like, it had Gripped Up on it. That was one of my joints. Like, Casanova got a few joints in himself. But he goes and he does the Set Tripping record, which basically kicks off the whole 6ix9ine beef. And that was something that came from like simply him putting the song out and 6ix9ine commenting on his Instagram post like, yo, you talking about me? And then from there, egos start to go back and forth. You put out a record like that, somebody with that big of a following and that big a fan base addresses it head on some, yo, is this talking about me? You don't want to say no to not sound like you soft or like you backing down, but then at the same time, you don't want to say yes and give him the attention that he's looking for. So I know after that, Casanova and 6ix9ine was kind of like, trading insults and stuff back and forth on social media. You'll have Casanova tweeting, you'll have 6ix9ine posting stuff on the gram, Casanova posting stuff on the gram, and it just became a whole big back and forth to a point where stuff started happening in the street. You have video sets getting shot up. You have the Barclays incident where pretty much these camps are meeting up and then certain things are happening. And it just creates a very hostile environment. Like, I could just imagine how much Brooklyn was on fire during those times. And I feel like this was probably before all of like the Wu and Cho thing, and before all of that popped off. But it created an environment to where both Casanova and 6ix9ine couldn't really get money around New York City. Like, they was getting all their shows banned. And the thing about 6ix9ine was that 6ix9ine was such a much, I guess, a bigger star, which I don't believe none of the, the social media numbers and, stuff like that. All that shit manufactured. But he was such a bigger star that he didn't need the New York circuit in order to make money and things of that nature, because his stuff is reaching outside the state. So he's getting to a point where he's getting booked in places like Texas and Cali and in Europe and, all these other markets, to where New York is just like, who cares? You feel me? Like, New York is, of course, the Mecca. You always want to, like, it's people who are not from New York, a lot of them, it's their dream to make it to New York and be able to perform out here. So, but people who are from here, especially once they spread their wings and start going to other places, and they already making tons of money doing other markets, they don't give a flying F about New York. So with with 6ix9ine, it's like he made it out, but Casanova, because his career hasn't really popped off the way it should have, he still needed the New York market. He still needed to be able to perform in, all of them key New York venues like, the Webster Halls and the Terminal 5s and, all of them type of venues, SOBs. And because of the issues that he was having with 6ix9ine, that wasn't able to happen, because you got to think, like, if Casanova get booked for a show, 6ix9ine could be all the way somewhere else touring, but he still got people that's, local that can easily pull up to a Casanova show and things will go left. And vice versa. So, it created a point to where they couldn't perform nowhere. They couldn't do no appearances, no walkthroughs, none of that. So all them bags that they could get from the clubs and from the venues and everything like that is done for them. So that is an issue that I kind of say, like, Casanova, to me, in my personal opinion, won the battle in terms of, like, I'm looking at it from a standpoint of him being, the type of individual he is, standing 10 toes down on everything, facing adversity, having a record like Set Trippin', not backing down from 6ix9ine, but at the same time, standing on what he said in the record, that it's like, yo, if it's pertaining to you, then it is what it is. He wins that battle to me. But in terms of the war and this kid becoming a bigger star and a much bigger name after the situation, and Casanova pretty much not moving much, you could kind of say in that aspect 6ix9ine won the war. Now, with Casanova, the type of person he is, that way of thinking don't leave you. That mindset don't leave you. So it's like, when you have a outlet to get money that's kind of cut off, sometimes you might have to go other routes that you're more familiar with. Even if you are at a point where you're famous and things like that, like, you could be famous, but you still got to work to get to a point where them bags are going to continue to come in no matter what. Just imagine how many people after this whole pandemic situation were able to continue to keep their bills paid and keep their careers afloat, because they already got to points where it's like, yo, I'm a big enough star, my money's still gonna come in regardless. Like, there's some people who this pandemic financially might not have affected them, because they already got their names to a point where they're always gonna bring in money. And somebody like Casanova, with 6ix9ine cutting off that whole New York energy, it put a stall on him. And it's like, if you can't get lit in New York, it's going to be pretty hard to get lit in other places. You might be able to hit the surrounding areas, the Connecticut's, the Phillies, and, do shows and stuff like that out there. But without home base, being able to, really keep you active and in them people's eyes and stuff like that, your shit gonna fall to the wayside, pretty quickly. So, whatever was going on, I guess, with Casanova around that time, he had to do what he had to do to, I guess, make ends meet, or, do whatever he was doing. He was still doing interviews, doing little shows here and there. And, the pandemic hit. Can't do no shows nowhere. So it's like, what's a person to do? Because it's only so long that, you might have a couple of 100 bands or whatever saved up, and then you're going to run through that, because bills still got to be paid. If you got kids, you got family, food still got to be put in their mouths, they still got to be clothed, and as an artist, you still want to be living a certain lifestyle. You're not going from having, what's an expensive restaurant out there? Let's just say bubblegum shrimp in Times Square, right? You can't go from having bubblegum shrimp in Times Square every day to straight ramen noodles. Like, you feel me? Ramen noodles and Kool-Aid. You can't go to that. So you still have to be able to provide, you know? And sometimes you just get to a point where you caught up, you already lived a certain lifestyle, so sometimes it's easy to go back to. It might be even easier to go back to once you've, you know, established yourself in a certain position. And, you know, throughout this pandemic, I hadn't really heard much from Casanova. You know, for the most part, it seemed like he had been being low. I hadn't really heard no music, hadn't seen him put no albums out. Of course, not doing shows. So, you know, it had pretty much been quiet from him. Like, I haven't really, you know, heard nothing. And then today, it pops up that he is wanted by the FBI, you know. Now, this is all public information, you know, and I'm not going to even go deep into the details of the situation. Like, y'all can go find it for yourselves. I'm not posting a link in the description. Y'all just Google Casanova and have fun. You understand? But, you know, it's just unfortunate that it's come to this. You understand? In terms of, like, what they're trying to hit him with. I mean, they're pretty much trying to hit the niggas with a RICO charge. You understand? What I will say is that, you know, in terms of his situation, it's like whatever conglomerate or whatever group of people he was running with, it's like they pretty much got everyone except him. You understand? So, you know, now it's at a point where it's looking bad for him. It's looking bad for him. And with people like that, you kind of want them to get to a point where they can do their industry thing and just live off those bags and be able to do what they got to do. But it's like, if you don't make it to a certain point, by the time shit start getting real, then it's sometimes I feel like you don't have no other choice, you know? So in terms of Casanova, you know, a lot of people would say like, oh, he was moving wrong, or why you ain't cut certain people off, or why you ain't stopped doing X, Y, and Z. But at the end of the day, the reality is that when somebody comes up in a certain lifestyle, it's like, it's pretty hard for them to just, you know, let those things go until their bag is super secure. And if they're still doing certain things at a certain point, then it's like, that should tell you that even though we looking and seeing all the Instagram followers, we seeing all the flashy videos, we seeing all of the jewelry and cars and stuff like that being brought, it's still just an image. That doesn't tell you the reality. That doesn't tell you the things that they might really have to be doing in order to, you know, make things happen. So, it's really hard to judge somebody based on, you know, when you see something like this. Like, when you see something like this, that's going to be your first thoughts. Yo, why they ain't, you know, move different? But it's like, somebody who really comes from there, what can you really tell them? You understand? But, at the end of my Fall from Grace episodes, I usually do a thing where I say, you know, so-and-so got a sign for the L. But something like that, I don't feel like I can really do that, because at the end of the day, for one, we don't know if Casanova may beat this. You understand? Like, looking at the charges and stuff like that, the stuff doesn't look like it to me, and I'm speaking for myself. It just looked like some, hey, this person's in the mix, throw them in there. You understand? Like, but hopefully it goes well for him. You know, if he does have to sit up, then, you know, hopefully he don't have to sit up for too long. He come back, you know, do things the right way, and can get back to, you know, grinding and getting where he's supposed to get, because I really felt like he could have been one of them next guys. You understand? So, you know, with him getting caught up in this, yeah, it's definitely going to derail him. It's definitely going to slow up everything he had going on. But at the same time, you can't just expect someone to move differently because they got fame, because they got money. Like, certain things are just instinct. Certain things are just innate with you, to where it's like, yo, this is how I grew up living. This is how I grew up getting by. So this is what I know when shit gets rough for me, you know, and we can see that things got rough for Casanova from, you know, the 6ix9ine beef when he couldn't get no bags in New York from the pandemic to when probably couldn't get no bag anywhere, you know. So it's kind of like, what really can you do at a point like that, you know? So salute to Casanova. You know, at this point they saying that, you know, he's pretty much on the run. Let's just say that, you know. So, you know, salute to him. Hopefully he get through this. Hopefully, you know, he gets the best guidance and everything that he can. I mean, obviously he's gonna need some good legal representation. So, you know, I'm just hoping that things go well for him. I'm hoping that, you know, he's able to really beat this and then just come home and do what he got to do on the music tip and get back to making some dope music. I'm a fan, so, you know, I'm not doing the whole hold this L, like, nah, we're not doing that with him. You feel me? So, but it's still a case of going from one extreme, going from a good extreme to a low one. This is why this has to be a fall from grace period, because it's like you're going from partying with Hove, being signed to Rock Nation, having your own label with artists under you, to now basically being on the run from the Feds. So, you know, like I said, hopefully everything goes well for him. And I just wanted to do this breakdown just so y'all know that he's somebody that I was in tune with, you know, somebody who I still listen to his music to this day. So, you know, like I said, hopefully everything goes well for him. And I'll see y'all on the next one, man. No Mercy, Trap New York shit, NoMercyTV.com. I holla at y'all. I'm out.